So it's time to get all cozy. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to an episode of She Knows Ball, where I'm going to be talking about FPL Game Week 3. Okay, as you already know, I mentioned in my last video that I am late to the YouTube party, right? I should have uploaded a video on Game Week 1 from when it started, right? But if you've been following me on TikTok and IG, then you would know that I've been posting like snippets there instead of a full-blown YouTube channel because I just wasn't ready to set it up yet, and I still don't even feel ready now. But you know what it is, it's now or never at this point. I feel like, yeah, just get it out, just get the content out and do with it what you will. So here we are. It is game week 3. We are getting into the FPL season, and you're starting, I feel like everyone should start to know what it is that they want to do with their teams, which players they like, which players are on form, and which players basically had one-off flukes. But yeah, so I have been posting on other socials like TikTok and IG. So if you're not following me there, make sure you follow me. My Instagram and TikTok handle is kaibody_. That is K-I, no, that's not K-I. That is KAIBODY_. Okay, so we're just gonna get straight into it, child, because we don't even have time for the chit chat. We've got our wine poured, and you know, we are so ready to get into this. And again, as I mentioned in my other videos, shout out to the woman, or I think it was a guy actually, I'm not sure, who commented on my TikTok post, my little, I wouldn't say viral, but it gained traction. It gained a little traction. Shout out to her, who said, you know, finally a page that talks about FPL on a Friday night whilst drinking wine. And girl, you already know that I got you. I had to do the YouTube channel because the wine is in hand, baby. Like, the wine is in hand, the camera is set, the lights are lit, and the stage is ready for me. So I hope everybody has poured their glass of wine. Wine of your choice. It could be red, it could be white. Recently I've been feeling red, but I think it's because we've now done with summer. But during the summer I was definitely drinking white wine more. But anyways, this is not a wine connoisseur show. This is an FPL show, right? So we're just gonna get straight into the game week, right? So first we're just gonna have a little recap on game week 2. And I wouldn't say that I had a bad week, but I wouldn't say that I had a fantastic week either. I think what's really stopping me from enjoying FPL so far is the fact that I made the very, very brutal and unforgiving mistake of getting Cole Palmer in my team when I originally never wanted him. So if you've been following me on TikTok, then you would have seen that initially my draft team included Ekitike in my team, and then I fell into the peer pressure of getting Cole Palmer because I felt like everybody had him. But again, if you were following me on TikTok and IG, you would have seen that I was literally saying that I could not see myself spending 10.5 million on Cole Palmer, and I wanted a Ekitike instead. And then everyone was kind of commenting, just saying, or, you know, like, everybody just seemed to have Palmer. And I was kind of feeling left out. And you don't want to be one of those FPL players where when one player severely capitalizes and you don't have them, then suddenly your rank just goes zoop. It's like, it's not cute. It's not cute at all. So I fell into the peer pressure of getting Cole Palmer, but that meant that I had to forfeit Ekitike because I wouldn't have been able to afford everybody in my team because of how expensive Palmer was. And what a big mistake that was. I have literally been so annoyed at Cole Palmer. Like, me and him have serious beef. Like, he is coming out of my team instantly, and so I think that's what's really fumbling my FPL at the moment. It's literally him. Like, everybody else I can live with, but this Cole Palmer fella, I just don't know what in my right mind possessed me you know what, let's even have a sip because, darlings, it's been hard. It's been hard with Cole Palmer. See what you made us FPLers do. Like, you got us, do you know what? Cheers. We even forgot to salute when we first started the video, but whatever. Get cozy. We've got to talk FPL, right? So yeah, Palmer didn't even start because apparently he's gonna got himself injured in the warm-up, right? And what a shocker that was. And again, if you've been following me on TikTok, you would have seen that I was really contemplating transferring Palmer out in game week 2 because during game week 1, I realised I had made a mistake. But then with FPL, you don't want to be too reactionary, right? And so I thought, you know what, let me just give him one more week. Really and truly, I wanted to transfer him out for Semenyo. But Frimpong, who was one of my defenders, got injured. And so that actually stopped me making that transfer because I thought, okay, do you know what, let me just focus on my defender instead. Big mistake that was. I then ended up transferring in Ait Nori, who then also got injured. But I don't know why I even did that because, again, if you've been following me on TikTok, you would have seen that when I was when I released my why I would be investing in Kudus video, you would have seen that I said that, you know, even though Tottenham have City in one of their first 3 fixtures, I think it's still a good game for Tottenham because I feel like Tottenham always somehow put the pause on City, and boy, did my football prediction come correct because that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Tottenham did their thing against City, like they did their big one. It was a shame that Kudus didn't get any attacking returns on that one, but not to worry. He's not going to get something every week. And so, yeah, I was quite happy with that result, except for the fact that I now have Ait Nori out, and that is another concern of mine. But other than that, you know, if you had me on TikTok and IG, you would have seen that I was adamant in game week 2 about keeping my Arsenal assets because I was really confident that Arsenal were going to do numbers against Leeds. And so I had Gabriel, Saka and Gyökeres, and boy did that pay off. And I just wish that Saka didn't get injured in that fixture because I feel like he would have had way more points than what he did. And again, if you followed me on TikTok, you would have seen that I mentioned that I would be captaining either Saka or Salah, and I was leaning towards Saka. And so I actually did end up captaining and so I actually did end up putting the captain's armband on Saka instead of Salah. And so obviously when Saka returned and scored, you could imagine that I was like, yes, this is what I needed after. Yeah, I just needed that real bad, especially after that horrific news about Cole Palmer, right? And then on top of that, Gyökeres got a double. And so I was like, yeah, okay, this isn't too bad. But then obviously the bad news is that Saka is injured, and so now I have Palmer out, Saka out, and Ait Nori. So I actually am considering wildcarding, I'm not gonna lie. It has been on my mind, but I'm gonna have a little fiddle around closer to the deadline and see what it is that I actually want to do with my team. But yeah, so overall, overall in game week 2, if you had João Pedro, you was basically having a whale of a time, pretty much. I don't have João Pedro, I've got Chris Wood. But I'm sticking with Chris Wood this season. You know, I had him in the first game of the season. He didn't disappoint. Obviously, he blanked the game week 2. But obviously, I think, you know, he's got... Who's he got next? I think it's West Ham. And so I fancy Chris Wood to get a little something against West Ham, considering how, you know, bad West Ham have been. But yeah, let's get into... what we should be doing for game week 3, right? Because I know a lot of people have Palmer, and I think the obvious shout is to transfer him out. I think a lot of Palmer owners are frustrated, and rightfully so. You know, it's just not really given. It's not given at all. And I just think, yeah, Palmer, you've got to go. A lot of people also actually slept. So let's actually first get into defenders, and defenders that we are, potentially, well, you should be potentially considering if you want to transfer any defenders this week. Let's first start off with Arsenal's defence, right? I know at the beginning of the season, everybody was kind of sleeping on Arsenal's defence. They thought, a lot of people thought, oh no, United's a bit of a tricky one. Then they've got Liverpool, so I don't know if I should transfer them in. And if you were one of those people, sorry to you. Sorry to that man. I wasn't. I was like, nope, I'm sticking with the Gunners. I feel like they've got a solid defence. I ended up going with Gabriel. And boy, have I capitalised off of my Arsenal defence. I do wish that I had someone maybe different. So maybe a Timber or a Calafiori, because as you know, them two have been doing well in the sense of attacking returns. And so yeah, if you had Timber, you would have had more than just a red glass with Mrs. Shino's ball. You would have popped some champagne, because yeah. So obviously Arsenal do have a very, very difficult fixture coming up. So if you do have Arsenal defenders, it is going to be a tricky one. I don't know if it's going to be a clean sheet. I actually can't call it. I think it's either going to be a draw or an Arsenal win. I think had Saka and Odegaard been playing, I would have said that I think Arsenal would have won. But with them out, I just can't call it at the moment. But yeah, I think it's either going to be a draw or an Arsenal win. I don't know if it's going to be goalless. I don't think so. But yeah, as I don't think, just because someone isn't likely to keep a clean sheet doesn't mean you shouldn't transfer them in. Because I think with a lot of Arsenal defenders, it's the fact that they produce attacking returns is what makes you want them. Because yeah, as I said, if you've had Calafiori or if you've had Timber, then you would have been, boy, who was that? Who saw that guy that captained triple captain Timber? Like, who even does it? People like that scare me, because it's like, who even thinks on God's green earth to captain triple captain someone? Like, you are crazy. Like, what are you doing on this earth, you bloody AI? You're probably a robot. They are definitely a robot. Gara. So yeah. And then obviously if you've got City defenders, child. City look a bit shaky, I don't really know about whether I would be transferring a City defender in right now, just because I just feel like City still look a bit similar to how they looked last season, in the sense where their defence is looking quite shaky. And so I just don't know about whether transferring in a City defender would be wise right now. I think, in terms of defenders, let's have a look at the list that I have actually put together. Yeah, so in terms of defenders that I think, the ones that you should be looking out for. So I've actually put some Arsenal boys. So I put Timber, who I think is 5.6 million. And Calafiori, who I believe is 6.5 million. Now, Timber is a bargain in that sense, because 5.6 million for the returns that he has been producing is chef's kiss. That is exactly what you want in your team. I think FPL is a bit different this season, in the sense where, before, I feel like in FPL, if you had a premium player, an expensive player, they were likely to really help your team. But I think this season in FPL, we're really starting to see the less expensive players start to really make a name for themselves and come through. So I think with FPL this season, it's going to test more of your ball knowledge than whether you know about top players, if that makes sense. And so it's going to be an interesting season FPL wise. But yeah, I've recommended Timber or Calafiori. They've obviously got Liverpool away, which is a hard fixture. Even if they don't get a clean sheet, again, as mentioned before, they could produce attacking returns. And then after City, I can't remember who they've got next. I mean, after Liverpool, who have Arsenal got next? They got it. Okay, so then after that, they've got Nottingham Forest and then City at home. Again, I don't know. They are difficult fixtures, but again, people wrote them off at the beginning of the season when everybody was making their first draft selection. And so, yeah, we'll wait and see. Other defenders that I feel like people should look out for is definitely Pedro Porro. You know, Tottenham have been looking really, really good this season so far. And he's actually only 5.5 million. And that is a bargain. Well, not a bargain, but, you know, it is a cheaper alternative than your usual 6 million premium defenders. And I think that should he continue to keep up his form, there's naturally just going to be a price increase on him, and so you will be able to capitalize off of that price increase in the future should you wish to invest elsewhere in your squad. But yes, Spurs have actually kept 2 clean sheets. And they're looking really, really good. And so next up, they've got Bournemouth at home, which again is going to be a difficult fixture. But with the way Tottenham are playing, I don't see why they shouldn't, you know, have a good game against Bournemouth. It might not be a 2-0 game. It could be, I don't know, I see Tottenham winning maybe like 2-1 or something like that. But yeah, but sometimes when you invest in a player, it's more so long term. Doesn't mean they have to get you a return straight away. Because after that, they've then got West Ham and then they've got Brighton. And I think Tottenham will be very good for that West Ham game, considering how bad West Ham are looking right now. Yeah, West Ham are really, really missing out on Kudus. And so I think it's going to be a difficult season for West Ham, especially if they don't make any major transfers this window, really. So yeah, I think Pedro Porro is definitely one of the defenders to look out for. And another defender that I think probably you should keep out on the look for is Cucurella. He is 6.1 million, so I think he's had a price increase because when I wanted to transfer him actually, which is funny because I wanted him instead of who was my original, Frimpong, and then I last minute made a change and I was like, oh god, I should have gone for Cucurella instead. But yeah, Cucurella is on form right now. He's 6.1 million, and Chelsea have Fulham at home next, Brentford away, and then they've got Man United away for their next 3 fixtures. And although, you know, I wouldn't say Chelsea looked the greatest. I mean, yes, they did win against West Ham, but West Ham are looking very, very this season. So I feel like the more telling game of what, or the more accurate reflection of what Chelsea looked like was their game against Crystal Palace. But yeah, they still kept a clean sheet in that game. And so, you know, yeah, I think you could be, if you want to get a nice defender and you're looking for, or you're hoping on a clean sheet, then I think Cucurella should be on your top list. Another defender that I think that I might be transferring in and that I feel like you guys should keep on your radar is Ola Aina. He's only 5 million. And I think Nottingham Forest, you know, they're doing quite well at the moment. You know, who they're playing next is West Ham. And again, as I just mentioned, West Ham aren't looking too good. And so I do fancy, you know, Nottingham Forest to get maybe a clean sheet against West Ham. Let's see what they can do. You know, I've also got Chris Wood in my team. So I'm hoping that Chris Wood can get me some attacking returns against West Ham this weekend. And then obviously they got Arsenal, which is a very difficult fixture. But then next they've got Burnley away. And so I think, yeah, invested in a few Nottingham Forest players wouldn't be the worst shout that I've heard. So yeah, those are the defenders that I am currently eyeing up. And I feel like that you guys should be on the lookout for too. Now, let's move on to where should we go? Strikers, midfielders. Do you know what? Let's get into the midfielders, because I feel like everyone's just having a midfield crisis right now. Like, as I said, you know, before in fantasy you would have your expensive midfielders and they would usually just get you the job done. But I think, again, this is the year of low cost budget midfielders, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, I know a lot of people have been transferring Semenyo in. I made a TikTok on this. I think he's like literally number one on the list for everybody to be transferring in. He's on form right now. And yes, although he does have a difficult game in that they have Tottenham coming up, I still think he's a good shout. You know, he's looking good for Bournemouth. So, you know, I don't really see why not. And then after Tottenham, he's got Brighton at home and then Newcastle at home. So why not, eh? Yeah, I made a TikTok video on Kudus. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out ASAP, and make sure you like and comment. And also don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel now, so you can stay up to date with Mrs. Shino's Ball and stay drinking wine whilst we discuss some FPL. So yeah, I think Kudus is obviously one to watch for the season. I've already spoken about him on my TikTok video and he's already in my team. So hopefully he does get some returns against Bournemouth. And then I did also speak on my TikTok video about Reinders, where City have Brighton away, then they've got Man United and then Arsenal. You know, these are tough fixtures. So in fact, let's even just leave Reinders out of this conversation. But yeah, this isn't an unpopular opinion, but again, I made a TikTok video on potentially investing in Man United players. You know what it is? I feel like Mbeumo and Cunha, though, if you do make those transfers, they're going to click soon. It's just about a matter of timing and when they are going to click. Obviously, right now, United are in a meltdown. You know, they've just been knocked out of the Carabao Cup to Grimsby. Like, I don't know what more of a nightmare that could be, or what further rock they could hit, because they're already at rock bottom. But on the plus side, Mbeumo did score in that fixture, and yes, he did miss his penalty. But prior to that, I did think that, you know, Mbeumo and Cunha were actually looking really good for United. And so maybe if you're thinking that, you know, United are going to have a bit of a redemption, then you could be looking at transferring them in. Obviously, it's going to be a bit, I feel like Old Trafford is going to be quite hostile, just because of their loss to Grimsby. So yeah, I think that is why I'd stay away from them right now. But I think when, you know, it does click for United, and I think it eventually will. I mean, they can't be down in the dumps forever. Or can they? I feel like they will eventually click. And so sooner or later, I feel like Mbeumo or Cunha, whichever one you go for, my preference will probably be Mbeumo. It will probably click, and then yeah, they will produce returns at some point, but you just gotta wait for it. I guess. So yeah, I think next on my list, I think I just wanted to have a little talk about this, a little chit chat and a little gossip. But who is actually gonna be transferring in Eze? You know, I think it's a great signing for Arsenal. I think a lot of Arsenal fans are looking forward to seeing Eze, and I think he will be starting against Liverpool, particularly because of the injuries to Saka and Odegaard. But obviously, you know, no one's actually seen him play for Arsenal, you know, in his current form right now. And so that's going to be a very, very interesting feature for him. So let me know if you are considering transferring in Eze. I did look at the most transferred in players, midfield players, and he wasn't too far down. So it seems like some of you are, you know, trusting, you know, Eze, and you're looking forward to his debut. But you know what? I'm not even going to knock it. I am really looking forward to watching him play. And you know, he's actually really keen to impress at Arsenal. So he might actually just really force his way into proving a point, and he might score or assist, like who knows. And it's actually interesting because I wonder who's going to be on free kicks now. Whether that's going to be Rice or whether that's going to be Eze. Or maybe they will keep us guessing each time. And so every time both of them step up to like take a free kick, we don't even know who's going to be the one to take it. But yeah, it's amazing to see Arsenal have, you know, depth in their squad, and that they have the option to alternate players and, you know, keep people guessing. Like, that's what we like to see. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you're going to be transferring in Eze. Okay, next up on my list, I've actually got Brennan Johnson, because yeah, he's looking good, Tottenham are looking good, and it's a tempting one to make because he's on form, so why not? So yeah, Brennan Johnson is, I wouldn't knock it. I think he's actually in one of the, I looked on the game week most transferred in, and I think he's up there. Yeah, I think he's one of the top players that have been transferred in, and I'm not going to knock it because Tottenham have been looking really good with him for sure. Okay, so other alternatives in terms of midfield, I think Gibbs White is a really good option. I think the link-up play between him and Chris Wood against West Ham United could really come in handy. You know, I mentioned this earlier already that, you know, Gibbs White, well, Nottingham Forest have West Ham, and then they have Arsenal and then Burnley away. So, Arsenal, I do, you know, fancy Nottingham Forest getting some returns in those fixtures. And so, yeah, I don't see why, you know, the link-up play between Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs White can't happen. I think they're looking good, and so why not? I think that is a nice differential to have as well, because I think not a lot of people are, well, not a lot of people have Gibbs White, and so yeah, if you're looking to climb up the ranks in your FPL, that would be a good one to consider. Another differential that I actually have written down is Smith Rowe and Elanga. Smith Rowe particularly because of his price tag. He's only, I believe, 5.9 million, and he had a really good game against Manchester United, so he's up and running in terms of scoring, and so who knows, they've Fulham have got Chelsea next, and then they've got Leeds, and then they've got Brentford too. So I feel like having Smith Rowe is a good cheap alternative and a differential, because not a lot of people are gonna own him. He's not heavily owned, and so if you're looking to climb up your league, your private league, this could be a good way to do it with somebody that's kind of under the radar. Do you know, Elanga would be one of my top picks this week, right? Or in general, but simply because of the red card that Anthony Gordon picked up and the whole drama with Isak at the moment, I think it's going to be very hard for Elanga and other attackers within Newcastle to, you know, produce the type of level that they were producing before. I think not having Anthony Gordon and Isak is a big blow at the moment, and so usually I would have said, you know, Elanga would be a good alternative to have, but at this moment in time I'm just not sure where the goals would be coming from at the moment. They do have Leeds, so maybe it could be, you know, Elanga and Barnes probably, but it is a bit of a tough one. So yeah, those are some good midfield suggestions. Again, if you don't already have Semenyo, Kudus, Mbeumo. So yeah, maybe looking at Brennan Johnson, Gibbs White, Emil Smith Rowe, and of course, easy like Eze. So yeah. Now we're gonna just briefly look at some alternative strikers to have, unless obviously some people, of course, in fact a lot of people actually have João Pedro. So you know, if you have like João Pedro, you've been laughing all the way to the bank because he returned massively. So yeah, who do Chelsea have again? Chelsea have so Chelsea have Fulham, Brentford and Man United coming up. And so yeah, if you fancy keeping Pedro Porro, if you fancy keeping João Pedro in that team, I wouldn't knock it. You know, he is on form right now, so I would leave him in if I personally had him. But if you don't have him, I would say that is, you know, a good transfer to consider making. Yeah, why not? I don't think I would be transferring him in though. I think if I do transfer in a striker, it would be Ekitike. I don't know, there's just something about Ekitike that is just really, I don't know. I think it's because I just knew about him from the start and I had this really, really good feeling. And so he's like my little, I don't know. I just like him. Obviously, they do have a difficult fixture with Arsenal coming up. But yeah, he's on form. So why not? Like, why not, honestly? So if you don't have Ekitike already, then yeah, definitely consider getting him in. That is 2 in 2 now. And I can't lie, he just looks really, really solid on the pitch. I did make a video again that I think it did healthy numbers, where I mentioned at the start that I think the link-up play between him and Salah is going to be chef's kiss, and that in itself would give you the attacking returns that you need. Oh, speaking of Liverpool, Cody Gakpo is going under the radar. Who has transferred him in? And if you transferred him in from the start, you ate. Cody Gakpo is actually one to watch if you actually don't have him, because he is doing really, really well in terms of his produce. So yeah, he is doing really, really well in terms of what he's producing. Let's have a quick look at his stats, right? So he's actually, in terms of total points, in terms of midfielders, he is third right now on FPL with a total of 17 points. And so people have actually been sleeping on Cody Gakpo, and that's because, you know, a lot of FPL players have Mo Salah, because sometimes it's just like, who other than Mo Salah, right? So yeah, Cody Gakpo is actually one to watch. His attacking threat right now is 54.0, which is really, really high. In game week 2, he actually scored 10 points. And it's just, yeah, he is definitely one to watch. His influence and attacking threat is quite high as well. But yeah, don't sleep on Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo is T right now. He's really, really performing. Yeah, he is really, really performing. Yeah, so he is definitely performing. So if you are on the lookout for a player, a midfielder, sorry to backtrack back to midfielders, but Cody Gakpo, he's a real, real good player. But obviously, again, Arsenal is a difficult fixture. So completely understand if you don't want to make that type of transfer. But again, why not? Who thinks it's going to be goals galore? Comment below if you think it's going to be goals galore in that Liverpool versus Arsenal game. But I am really looking forward to it, and I definitely can't wait. But anyways, back to strikers. Again, you already know that I'm a massive fan of Chris Wood. So if you don't have Chris Wood, then I would definitely consider transfer him in, possibly. You know, again, Nottingham Forest have West Ham coming up. And again, West Ham aren't looking the greatest at the moment. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity for Nottingham Forest to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and red wine, because I feel like Chris Wood is going to thrive in this game. If he doesn't, I will be shocked. I will be definitely shocked. But yeah, I think another striker that is definitely on my ones to watch, and if you're considering transferring in a striker, I think you need to be on the lookout for Richarlison. Now, I don't know what it is, but Richarlison and Spurs right now, they're just clicking. They're really, really clicking, and he's looking good. He's looking confident. He's looking strong. He's showing strength He's showing strength on the pitch. He's got attacking returns. The link-up play between him and Kudus is... And Tottenham just overall look very, very confident. And again, they've got Bournemouth coming up, and then West Ham, and then Brighton. And I think these are really, really good fixtures for Tottenham. So yeah, if you're looking for a different striker to transfer in, a little alternative, then yeah, I would go for Richarlison as well. And he's only 6.7 million, which isn't... It's not the cheapest, but it's still a good amount. So I'm not gonna lie, Tottenham they're looking quite impressive. I don't know, maybe winning the Europa League has given them some sort of spice, that has given them the spice that they needed all of that time. So yeah, but honestly, we'll see. So in terms of captaincy, well, this one is a bit of a difficult one, because something in me is telling me to captain Mo Salah, but I don't know if that's like the OG FPL in me talking. But I think the captain's armband is definitely between Chris Wood and Mo Salah right now. You know, last week I made the decision to captain Saka instead of Salah, and that was a good decision for me. It was risky. I was nervous about it, but a part of me just said, you've got to take the risk. And I'm happy that I've done that, because it definitely paid off, right? And so again, something is telling me this week to captain Chris Wood instead of Mo Salah, because the fixture suits, you know, Chris Wood a lot more and Nottingham Forest a lot more. And I think, you know, Liverpool's fixture is just a bit harder. But at the same time, I need to double check Mo Salah's stats against Arsenal, but I do think he also has a very good record against Arsenal in terms of scoring. And so the temptation is there. And so, I don't know, I think I'm going to be fiddling around with the captain's armband a lot between now and Saturday's game week 3 deadline. So yeah, comment below and let me know who the captain's armband is going to be going on. Is it going to be going on Salah? Do you have Haaland? If it's Haaland, are you going to be captaining Haaland? Yao Pedro maybe? Or would you be going bold and putting the armband on Chris Wood? Or would you even, are you an Arsenal fan and are you putting it on Gyökeres? Tell the truth and shame the devil. Let us all know if you're going to be putting the armband on Gyökeres. Because, yeah, that would be hilarious. But in fact, it actually wouldn't be, because... Did you see his goal against Leeds? He ate with that. He did his thing. That wasn't an easy goal. I feel like a lot of people are making fun of him for that goal, but I'm not really understanding why. Because it wasn't a very easy goal to score. It was actually very technical, and it showed his technical ability and the fact that he's a cold striker. Like, so I'm not really sure why people are making fun. Maybe that's the only thing they can do at the moment, is to make fun of Gyökeres, because if they don't laugh, what's the saying? If you don't laugh, you'll cry. So to stop them from crying, they're just going to make fun of him, because I thought that was a brilliant goal. people kept saying he's looking a bit big or stodgy and all of that things, or whatever the word is, but it's like, I mean, what more do you want? It's a striker's goal. It was a typical number 9's goal, and you know, I can't be mad at it. And I think he's going to be very, very hungry to score against Liverpool. And so yes, I do have Gyökeres in my team, and yes, I am going to be leaving Gyökeres in my team for that Liverpool fixture. So let's see what he does. Don't disappoint me. I need some hair flicks from him. I need some shoo, like, give it all to me, Gyökeres. I'm waiting for it. And don't let me become a meme, because my friends are gonna watch this and gonna be like, look what she was saying. She thought Gyökeres was gonna score, and look, she's flicking her hair for no reason. So yeah, Gyökeres, don't do me dirty. Y'all gotta find a way without Saka, without Odegaard, to do something, to come away with something. I'm not saying you have to win, like, and win by 4 or 5, but I mean, at least get some goals in or something. Show the people that you guys can survive without Saka. That's what Arsenal need to do. That is exactly what Arsenal need to do. So yeah, that's who the captain's armband is going on. So it might be Chris Wood, it could be Salah. I don't know as of yet. You know, everything always fiddles around and changes just before the deadline, when the nerves start to kick in and the last minute anxiety kicks in. So yeah. Ooh, had to have a breather and a little sip there, because why not? If you've been watching this, have a sip as well, because it's a tough game week ahead of us, mate. Like, City don't look good, but Liverpool and Arsenal have got tough fixtures. Then you've got Chelsea, who sometimes are there, sometimes are not. Then you've got Spurs, who they look good, but then it's like, Spurs can be Spurs. So it's like, can you put your trust in them? It's just... And then you've got United. I don't know what is going on this season. It's just, it seems a little bit all over the place. And it doesn't seem like typical seasons, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, comment below and let me know what you're going to be doing with your teams ahead of game week 3. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Mrs. She Knows Ball. And also, don't forget to follow me on social media. It is KaiBody_. That is KAIBODY_, and that is on TikTok and Instagram, where I give little snippets of, you know, She Knows Ball topics, FPL topics, Premier League reactions, post-match analysis, pre-match analysis, wine analysis, you name it. So yeah. So if you're new here, which you probably are, because it's my, I don't know, second video, first video. To be fair, it even depends if I even release this, because I don't know what it is with me and YouTube. That's just like daunting. But yeah, next time, get ready, because over here, we sip wine whilst we talk a little football. So next time I drop a video, make sure you've got your wine ready so we can have a little FPL gossip. But yeah, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and follow me on my social media pages. And yeah, let's see what game week 3 has in store for us. Thank you. Bye.